In today's video, we're exposing 7 of the worst whiskey brands in British supermarkets. Products that look premium on the shelf but collapsed under investigation. At the end, I'll reveal the cleanest brands you can actually trust. This is the whiskey truth they buried. Let's start with the biggest liar. Brand number 1. Johnnie Walker. You know Johnnie Walker. You've probably bought it. That striding man logo has been in your home, at your celebrations, in your trolley. They market themselves as the world's most trusted whiskey brand, with heritage dating back generations. Here's what they don't tell you. The US Securities and Exchange Commission found that Johnnie Walker's parent company, Diageo, paid over $2.7 million in bribes to government officials across India, Thailand, and South Korea. In India alone, they funneled $1.7 million to officials responsible for purchasing their whiskey, generating $11 million in illegal profits. The SEC's verdict was damning. Lax oversight and deficient controls that allowed subsidiaries to routinely use deceptive devices to disguise payments. Diageo paid a $16 million settlement. That's your trusted heritage brand. That's the whiskey you've been giving as gifts. And that's just the beginning of what they've been hiding. But wait until you hear what's actually inside the bottle. Brand number 2. Bell's Original. Bell's sits in nearly every supermarket in Britain, around £16 at Tesco. The label promises original and extra special. What it doesn't promise is transparency. Bell's is also owned by Diageo, the same company that paid those $16 million in bribery settlements. But here's what affects you directly. Like most blended Scotch, Bell's almost certainly contains E150, a caramel colouring. This additive creates that golden amber colour you associate with aged whiskey. Germany and Scandinavia require it on labels. In the UK, nothing. The same bottle that lists ingredients in Munich shows nothing in Manchester. Transparent distilleries proudly state natural colour on their labels. The ones that don't? They're hiding something, and your right to know has been conveniently removed. But at least Bell's isn't destroying entire neighbourhoods. Jack Daniel's can't say the same. Brand number 3. Jack Daniel's. Jack Daniel's isn't just hiding what's in your bottle, they're hiding what their production does to entire communities. Residents of Lincoln County, Tennessee, live surrounded by Jack Daniel's barrel warehouses, and they're covered in a black fungus called Bodonia compniachensis, the whiskey fungus that feeds on ethanol vapors escaping from those barrels. One resident spends $10,000 annually pressure washing it from his property. His wife reports respiratory problems. A neighbour has cancer. Dr. James Scott of the University of Toronto, who studies the fungus, says it wrecks patio furniture, house siding, almost any outdoor surface. He's seen trees choked to death by it. Brown-Forman, Jack Daniel's parent company, refuses to install air filtration that could stop the spread, claiming it would adversely affect the taste. Your smooth Tennessee whiskey comes at the cost of a community's health. And they chose the whiskey over people. Now, let's cross the Atlantic, where the scandals get even dirtier. Brand number 4. Jameson. Irish whiskey. Jameson positions itself as the friendly Irish whiskey, smooth and approachable. Around £25 at most supermarkets. What's not so friendly is the corporate behaviour of its parent company, Pernod Ricard. Indian authorities have charged Pernod Ricard in connection with the Delhi excise policy investigation, alleging $24 million in corporate guarantees were illegally provided to help retailers in exchange for stocking more of their brands. An internal investigation commissioned by Pernod Ricard India itself found that senior executives had acted in violation of policy. The leaked internal report stated that corporate guarantees were a means of controlling market share. The consequences: Pernod Ricard has been banned from selling in Delhi since 2022. Multiple employees dismissed. A $250 million federal tax dispute ongoing. And in late 2024, India's Competition Commission raided their offices over allegations of colluding with retailers. That's your friendly Irish whiskey. But Jameson's parent company, Pernod Ricard, owns another brand you've probably given as a gift. And what happened inside that company is genuinely disturbing. Brand number 5. Chivas Regal. Chivas Regal markets itself as the pinnacle of blended Scotch luxury. Around £30 for the 12-year-old. Live with chivalry, their tagline says. Chivalry apparently doesn't extend to employees. Chivas Regal is also owned by Pernod Ricard, the company facing those bribery charges. But a French Labour court investigation revealed something more disturbing. Former Pernod Ricard salespeople testified about constant pressure to drink on the job. One saleswoman alleged drinking until alcoholic comas at company seminars. When she told her boss she couldn't touch alcohol while under addiction treatment, he allegedly responded, "Ah, come on, you're not working for Perrier." That's the company behind your luxury whiskey. A company where pressuring recovering alcoholics to drink was apparently acceptable management. Still feeling chivalrous? Now, you might think switching to supermarket-owned brands keeps you safe from corporate scandals. Here's why you'd be wrong. Brand number 6. Supermarket-own-brand whiskies. The fundamental problem with every supermarket-own-brand whiskey is secrecy. Only Tesco Finest confirms its producer, White & Mackay. Every other supermarket brand refuses to disclose which distillery actually makes their whiskey. Companies can change suppliers without changing labels. That Asda Extra Special Islay you bought last year might contain whiskey from a completely different distillery than this year's batch. You have no way of knowing. Worse, none of them disclose whether they add E150, a caramel colouring. While transparent distilleries proudly state natural colour on labels, supermarket brands stay silent. That silence isn't accidental. If they weren't adding it, they'd tell you. This deliberate opacity means you're gambling every time you buy. You don't know what's inside, you don't know who made it. You're trusting brands that won't trust you with basic information. But if you thought budget whiskey was the problem, wait until you see what's happening at the other end of the market, where a single bottle costs more than a used car. Brand number 7. The rare whiskey market. This one might save you thousands of pounds. If you've ever considered buying a rare or vintage whiskey as an investment or collector's item, listen carefully. Laboratory testing by the Scottish University's Environmental Research Centre found that 38% of rare whiskey bottles tested were counterfeit. Every single bottle claiming to be distilled before 1900 was fake. The estimated value of fake rare whiskey currently circulating? £41 million. Even distilleries get fooled. The Macallan purchased dozens of supposedly antique bottles at auction. Tests later proved the whiskey inside was fake, sometimes only 10 years old, not 19th century as claimed. They'd already released a Macallan replica series based on counterfeit bottles before discovering the deception. The BBC's recent undercover investigation, Hunting the Whiskey Bandits, exposed cask investment fraud affecting hundreds of victims who lost millions. One terminal cancer patient lost £76,000. Some bought casks that don't exist. The market is unregulated. The fraudsters simply change company names and continue operating. But you don't have to gamble with your health or your money. Safe alternatives. Here's what you should buy instead. For your premium option, look for Glenfarclas. This Speyside distillery has been family-owned for 6 generations. They use only natural colour, no E150A whatsoever. They bottle at 46% ABV without chill filtration that strips flavour compounds. Every sherry cask comes from a single Spanish bodega they've worked with for decades. The 15-year-old runs around £73 at Master of Malt or the Whisky Exchange. When you buy Glenfarclas, you know exactly what you're getting. Complete transparency from a family that actually puts their name on the line. For your budget option, grab Highland Black 8-year-old from Aldi at around £15. This is the only whisky under £20 that gives you an actual age statement. It's won gold medals at the Scotch Whisky Masters. Both options share something crucial. They haven't paid millions in bribery fines, they haven't poisoned communities, and they haven't hidden what's inside the bottle. That's the minimum bar your whisky should clear. The whisky industry trades on heritage, craftsmanship, and trust. But behind the tartan-draped marketing, you've got billion-pound corporations paying bribery fines, hiding additives, and poisoning communities. The system won't protect you, but now you know how to protect yourself. Which brand shocked you the most? Drop your experience in the comments. And if you want to watch another video like this one, click the video on the screen. Thanks for watching.